My name is Greg Anderson, and I have been here since the very first meeting. And my testimony is a short one. My wife was fascinated with the architect of the building, especially with the red door. Matter of fact, she had me paint our door red. So we have a red door at home also. And she wanted to go, and I tagged along. And we're still here.
My name's Jerri Anderson. Greg and I have been together since we first met when I was 14 and he was 18. So as you can see, if you guys have any little children in your life or teenagers in your life, that's pretty young. We got into a boat together, and it was a great trip. The faster I could bail water into the boat, he had to keep up bailing it out. We were in a church for a while when we were young, and our kids were little. And again, I ran headlong into it. And 5 years later, we realized that it had probably not a whole lot to do with God. It was pretty oppressive and controlling. They'd cut themselves off from the world. They were cutting us off from the world. We were thankful to God that we escaped. And then we were pretty shy. We were pretty gun shy about churches and about any kind of religious affiliations. And we hit churches for the next 30 years. We hit churches here and there, never stayed very long. And our kids grew up, and I kept bailing water into the boat, and Greg kept bailing water out of the boat, and went through some pretty heavy things. 15 years ago, Greg was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And I really started bailing water into that boat. And the more water, and it's just got to the point where I just don't think that he could keep up anymore. But instead of slowing down, I just picked up. I was just bailing faster. I'm trying to keep my head above water, and I just saw him get into a little lifeboat and started moving away from me. And I don't think that he saw it that way. I think that he saw that I was making so many waves that his boat was just being pushed further and further away. And I began to drown. I had loved this building, and we lived right up the street, and I had came by this building so many times, never went to church here. I saw the sign, and I can't say that we knew anything about Elmira or anything. I just knew that I was drowning. And I just said, it's open, Greg. It's going to be open, and we're going to go. And basically drug him. Came in the first day and planted us there in the front row. And I liked what I heard. I didn't want to get into a situation like we'd been before, and was pretty determined not to. And
you had no idea what to expect here as far as church service went.
Yeah, we had no idea. So came back the next week, and he liked it even more, and liked what you had to say. And I think we came for 3 or 4 more services, but I came once by myself, and I remember that it was pretty powerful, and God really convicted me that morning, and I fell apart, and there was just some really loving people that just put their arms around me, and they took me off to the back room, and they prayed over me, and they listened to me, and I left embarrassed that I had made such a scene. I felt like I had. I don't know if I had or not. I think that I was pretty out of it. But I went home, and I didn't come back for a month. And I couldn't figure out what was making this, what would make this so different. I seriously did not know what made the word, the sermons that I was hearing, the people so different. And in that month, I think I realized that it was love, that I had never felt that type of love ever. And it was scary. I just hardened my heart towards him. Does that make sense? I had just totally hardened my heart towards him, towards Greg, towards the world. And I decided that I wasn't worthy of love. But here was just, no matter who I was, or I could be myself, and I didn't have to be a Bible scholar. I didn't have to know scripture, and I didn't have to. I could ask questions, and there was always someone to help me to find the answer, until I can remember the day, and you probably remember the day too, Paul, that I just said, it's a living word. I opened that Bible myself, and I started to read it for the first time, and it spoke back to me, and it became a living word, and he became a living God. And I knew he loved me. And then it was no turning back, and don't even have a desire to.